We've got to protect our children. They need our hands. We've got to stand up. Yeah, stand.
Hey, friends and family, Ian Mitchell here. Welcome to the M3 show. It's been several weeks since we've done an episode, partially because lining up folks to talk to, there's so many of them, and Bree's been having to run me down to make sure I can ask. Um, Also, I just started a new job, and so it's just been kind of a crazy couple weeks. But this is a great one, and we just ended the recording of this, and you're gonna have a blast. You're gonna meet my friend Shawnna Hoffman. And Shawnna, self-proclaimed geek, I think she's awesome. She is a genius, and we didn't even get into the stuff that she could go deep on when it comes to quantum computing and AI, and I mean, just wow. But she's turned into now a human crime fighter around the world, and she has done a lot to fight child exploitation over the last year, and now she's taking on new projects. This is not a long interview. It's maybe 25 minutes, fast pace, and I have no doubt that you're going to be inspired and learn a lot from hanging out with Shawnna. So thank you for watching. As always, please stay tuned. Check out the music. We're dropping a song this Friday. Actually, when this comes out, we'll be dropping the new song, I'm on His Side. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that one. And so check that out, please. And I think that's it. Bree, thank you as always for making this happen, and I appreciate you all watching this, and let's jump in and have some fun. Shawnna Hoffman, oh my goodness, we're going to have some fun. Are you ready?
I am so ready. It's so great to see you.
It's wonderful to see. It's been months. It's interesting as we kind of just reconnected over the last couple of weeks. It's amazing how we went through we were talking and texting almost every day, multiple times a day for a good 6 months, and then just we kind of went through this period where you went on to some big, crazy, giant job, and solving all kinds of world problems, and then just like you said before we started, like in the last couple of weeks, it's been great to reconnect, and I thank you for doing this.
Well, and talk about me doing amazing work. Oh my goodness. I love what you've been doing and all of the advancements on fighting fraud. And
Yeah.
I hear about you all the time. I go into various meetings and they're like, have you met Ian? Have you met Ian? It seems to be a trend.
Oh yeah, and you're like, I know that dumb dumb.
No,
It's like I,
I'm
it's
like, oh, you've met Ian. I'm like, you have been given that pleasure. You must know
oh
things too.
no, whatever. My goodness, I gotta tell you, there's so many places we could go here, and your background's amazing, and just it's so easy to like you. It's so easy to become close and dear friends, and you're just that warmth. You're just that person. So I am excited to share you with people I trust and care about, and on this topic especially, we're still doing the Protect Our Children series. But before we jump into any of that, who's Shawnna?
Oh my goodness. So, about 15 minutes ago, I was the mama protector. My mama bear had come out. We'll talk about that in just a second.
Ooh.
But yeah, that mama bear, oof, she's a rough one. She comes out in me, and I'm always surprised. I'm like, oh, okay, well,
You're not
don't
always
I
this
bet-
fun, cheerful, carefree person. It's like, uh,
yeah, mama bear is just not carefree. She's like, don't mess with my littles. And they're not little, like they're 6 foot something, which is so fun. So, but I actually had this question asked to me, maybe like 6 weeks ago by the deputy chairman of one of the private banks. And he said, well, tell me about yourself. And I had just finished on the ride over just a new mathematical equation that I had been working in my head. And so I was like, I love math. That's just what spit out. And I thought I've always been the weird math girl. Even in junior high, high school, gosh, I can even remember as a kid, I just love math. And I would sit and I would look at equations and I would stare at them and try to understand them. And then, of course, I would see them in my brain always kind of coming off the page. So I was that weird girl. I remember, so my teachers didn't know what to do with me. And my junior year of high school, they would always give me A's. They're like, yeah, you get the right answers, blah, blah, blah. My junior year of high school, I had a teacher who said, no, you have to do it exactly the way that I've taught you.
mm,
Now, that was my problem. That was my super kryptonite. I could not do it at all. So I started the school's math club not joking, first time in the yearbook. Here I am in my little fancy dress, and I got all the boys together because it was all boys and my sister, of course. And it was crazy because I just needed to understand how to do the math. Now, fast forward that to being now 52 and realizing that I was actually doing math the right way and other people have been doing it wrong. Not that it's been, well, yeah, it's wrong. Okay, anyway, so it's been really fun to really take a step back as to what are some of the things that we've even learned as children that could possibly be questioned nowadays. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great journey. I love what happens. My mom always said, in your 50s, you're going to get all this confidence. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, bring it on, totally get you, mom. Because you have nothing, you have half of your life behind you, half your life in front of you. And I'm looking at it going, man, I want to change the world because
Mm.
we are in a really crazy time right now, especially with AI, some of the work that I'm doing in quantum, things that I have been seeing that should not be possible are possible today. I mean, I had a call. Yeah, last week I had multiple calls. One of them was, we would like to mine an asteroid. Can you help us with that? Well,
What?
honestly, yes, I can. I've had now multiple of those conversations. So those are the types of really crazy problems that they're throwing at those of us who've been around for some time. And I love being that, I would definitely say the quirky female. I used to call myself the sideshow of AI because I was one of the first females in AI. I ran one of the IBM practices for about a decade. And I just did it because I was curious. I saw Watson win Jeopardy and I'm like, cool, I've got problems I want AI to solve. I'm going to go to the company that has the AI so I can use it for free, and we were just building fun things. That whole team, I go back to them often to say, hey, by the way, what do you think of this and some of these new equations or, various new things in AI that we're thinking through? So, yeah. So, right, math head, but also, man, that mama bear.
Well, for somebody that
Yeah.
barely I mean, I guess I wasn't bad at math, but my goodness, I wasn't bad at math the wrong way, let alone the math the right way, like you're talking about. But that's how I knew you. That's how we first started interacting, is when we were going to do something amazing on the consulting side with AI. And you just blew my mind. Not only your energy, but you just find yourselves in these situations like mining asteroids, where like people from like presidents and princes and all these people are coming in saying, hey, can you tell us about this AI thing or this problem? I mean, it's amazing the things that you find yourself into. I mean, there's always a good story. The asteroid one is a new one though. I can't say that I've
Oh,
ever met anybody that's yeah, been approached with that problem.
it's really interesting. I think the biggest lesson I learned is just to leave myself open. And people are going to get you wrong. They're not going to get you. They're going to assume things about you. It's really getting to that point, and it took me many years to figure out people are just never going to understand me, which is just fine. And you just accept yourself for who you are. And I'm like, people, if they want to be in my world, great. If not, it's okay. If you want to dig in deep into some of the crazy, theories that we have. They're also really fun. But it does take someone who has a strong mind and a strong heart because we're looking at the world in a whole new way.
So that's to any quirky person. Like I'm also self-described as quirky. I was at the dentist this morning, like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, well, where do we start? And it's like, well, I got the fraud side, I got the human crime side, I got the music stuff, I got all these like things. And it's like, and it's, I've just embraced that word quirky too. And I think that's what my kids describe me. Oh, my dad's a trip and other people. But yeah, I think we all have got a little quirkiness in us. Some of us have, it's been beaten out of us because of corporate America or the different constructs of society. So
Yes.
one quirky person to another, and we love quirky people. It is so much fun to operate in life. I'm in my late 40s to finally be comfortable enough to operate that way. And it's just a blast. So I love that about you. Can we talk a little bit about just, we start talking about all these interesting problems and things that you've done. I mean, where you are now, was this a straightforward linear path for you or like, I know what the answer is, but like just, being raising some, teens and a college student and you start looking at like where life takes you. Um, would you ever thought that you've had the experiences that you've had and what you're interacting with and living in around Disney? I mean, you have such an amazing life. We don't need to go there, but it's amazing how rich and amazing your life is.
Oh, it's been a blessing. It has also been really tough, especially, I mean, raising children. Man, that is one of the toughest things that we can do. It's also one of the biggest blessings. You know, you raise, for me, it's three little best friends who are now big best friends, and they're each unique. And so many of the things, my oldest is in medical school, and and I am not a medical professional. I am an IT geek. That is not my foray. And ever since she was maybe 2, you know, she would run around the church, and she was so cute. She always had like a stethoscope or some sort of thing on. And she's like, I'm going to heal hearts just like Jesus. And it was adorable. And she is doing that today. So her goal is to become a thoracic surgeon. But the things that I would have thought, like she's come to me on a few things, and I'm like, okay, how do you feel about that? So instead of assuming like, oh, like that terrifies the heck out of me, instead of just asking her opinion, because God is a different path for her than he does for me. And I don't want to influence her path with something that I really don't understand. And she has been right 100% of the time. And
Wow.
and some of the times I'm like, oh, that's, in my head, I'm going, oh, it's not going to go well. It would go really well. And I'm like, so I thank God and she's been an amazing kid, but it's been great for her brothers, because I have definitely done the same thing with the boys too, because I'm like, okay, well, what are you feeling? And really, instead of just listening to your kids, with the first statement they say, unpacking it with them and then not making the decision for them. And that is really hard. That is probably one of the biggest struggles as a parent. Um, as my mama bear came out, that was with my middle son, which we've had some really big struggles this past year. And it was just like, I just want to hug him and go, it's all going to be okay. But he has to go through some of the struggles, because
Mhm.
if you don't, then you're not growing.
100%. I think the interesting, it's so wild for me to look at all the mistakes I made in my early 20s and then realize I'm parenting a 20-year-old and how you parent an
Yeah.
adult versus a child. That's been an interesting. I love the relationship I have now, but I think I'm a better parent with older kids than younger kids, and but I'm just loving and also giving them the space to make mistakes and learn and relearn. And sometimes they just don't want your advice, and sometimes they're not listening to you even though you're talking. And but then it's so precious when they actually come in and say, "Hey, Dad, can I get your opinion on something?" So
Yeah.
it's what a blessing it is to be a parent, and I'm just loving as they get older, what that's like. So, hey, I wanna bring this back. So we're gonna talk about children, but can you talk about some of the really cool kinda jobs and things that you've had, and maybe what's a project that's exciting you now? Like, what are you excited about now?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So let me just preface this with something my dad said, and I'm a huge daddy's girl. Growing up, my dad was like, he would be speaking the gospel sometimes, but then also in my head, always whatever dad said went. And real quiet man, a lot of wisdom. You knew when dad said something, it was going to be good. And he said to me one day, he goes, well, honey, you don't ever have just one job. And I was like, okay, let's talk about this, because I was always busy. I always had a ton of things I was doing my entire life. This is not just now. It's been since I was young. And he's like, okay, you have the job that makes you money, because you always have to make money. You have the job that's something you love. And then the job that's your give back. And so I've always looked for those 3, because knowing that not one job just fulfills the needs that I have, and the purpose that I have in life. And so my give back has always been something to do with usually women or children. And with that, I helped found a homeless services center in our local community. One of my daughter's friends, my daughter come home and said, she didn't have lunch that day. And I found out through another friend, she hadn't had lunch for like a month.
Hmm.
And so this little girl was in what we call the gap. There's a lot of humans caught in this gap, where they make too much money, but then not enough money. So they aren't poor, but they don't have money enough to eat. And so we see this across the globe. So there's this gap area that we need to come in as, other humans, and just say, hey, how can I help out? So we started a program built off of the book When Helping Hurts. And we've had that for 15 years, helped hundreds of thousands of local individuals who were in the gap, to where they could get to the point where for example, some of them well, it's a 6-month program, but some of them just need help, just have groceries for the next week. And then you can help set them up for an end to end where you're, getting them out of hotels or out of their car and into actual places. So the give back has always been really important. My give back changed last year because of what happened to my son. And that mama bear, she came out and I needed her at that moment. And so did he. It's make me cry. So he had been in a 2-year long relationship with someone who he thought was his age, and it was online. And she always had an excuse why she couldn't meet. And she even texted me like she was awesome. Like I was like, great. He got him to go back to school. Like he's going to school, getting straight A's. He's really smart. And then I realized at one point money was starting to come out of his crypto account.
Mm.
$30 to start with. And you and I were at a conference together. And I had said, "Oh, this is weird," to one of the other fraud, fighters. And she's like, "Well, 2 years is kind of long. Maybe it's not." And I thought, "Oh, that's good." But then, of course, it just stuck with me. And I looked into her. She was not 24-year-old student from Texas, who had this online persona for 8 years, by the way. She was 67 from a little scam center in California. Oh, yeah. So thousands of
I remember
dollars,
that.
but not enough to be a big problem, by the way, for the government, or for law enforcement, but enough came out of his account to get me to tell him that I'm like, honey, she's not real. So did provided him all the reports.
She
I
was
was
texting you.
Yeah,
She was texting you. It's like, oh my goodness.
yeah. She
And
was
it's
convinced
crazy.
it was real.
Yeah.
And she was texting me throughout the time too. Um, and I don't know if she was trying to think she was gonna scam me too. I was like, I don't send money to anybody. I'm like, I got 3 kids and I'm a single mom. So so they're getting everything. Um, yeah, it was like so bold. And she really didn't have anything to lose. I realized that she had this select autism or sorry, select mutism that she would get. He's like, "Well, she's mute." And I was like, "Weird." So he was taking a class on ASL. He became a genius. Like
Wow.
he now can speak with anyone who is deaf. It's brilliant. But because he was going to be marrying her someday. So so long story short, he got really depressed, became suicidal, had to go into a program for 30 days. And really, I would say it was a detox program for an addiction. He was so addicted to her and he's doing amazing now. We were just going through that earlier and he has now someone who's working with him and getting him back, out into society and getting back into school. We just had a professor here that was going to help him get back into one of the local colleges. So many good things going on from that. But man, that almost killed us. It almost killed him.
See, I remember hearing about this and I remember, yeah, yeah, I can't imagine and the level of, I don't know, deviance and deception that could happen. And yeah, out of California. Also, this isn't just Southeast Asia. This is out of, so that ignited something in you. What did you do?
It did. Well, actually, it's funny you just said that. I just got back from Southeast Asia because, of course, I can't just sit back and not learn what's going on. So I went from there to go, is this a problem that's more prolific? And I learned at the conference that there was more to this than meets the eye. And people had mentioned to me there were these scam centers. And so I ran into a government agent and he had heard me speak at a conference on, quantum computing and stuff. And we started talking and I pitched with him a little bit about what had happened with my son. And he's like, oh, yeah, we want to take down the scam center. So we started to have a really neat discussion about that. And he started sharing more statistics with me. There are millions of people who are enslaved right in front of these countries' eyes that are in these like massive centers, like we would have an Amazon center and they're being snatched off the street. I met with a nun who shared with me that a few of her orphans were actually that were older, snatched off the street, stuck into these imprisoned areas, and if they didn't meet their quotas, they beat the living daylights out of them. Now, what was weird is they didn't take their phones. They were still reaching out to the nuns, but they were stuck. And so we have all these people trying to help, but again, it's a business. It's a multi-billion dollar business. At one of the conferences that you and I were at, they said they had shared something that just stuck with me and stuck it like right into my heart, because I was like, oh, so the third largest GDP in the world is it's crime. It is these financial fraud crimes that are occurring. US, China, and then these financial networks that are corrupting everyone across the globe. And it's getting worse and worse. So I just got back from Southeast Asia and had an opportunity to go to 7 countries and see what was going on myself, and really work to make a difference. And there's amazing opportunities for us to actually jump in. So what I've been doing over the past, it's been weirdly probably right at about a year that all this occurred. And I was in the thick of it last year. It has been a journey. I became CEO of one of the children's organizations, so learned a lot during that time. I've now moved off fully into my quantum work, because we need to build systems that these people can't break, because they are breaking into our homes, into our lives, and into our hearts, and stealing things from our babies. I had heard, and I know you've heard this too, that in the business plans for these scam centers is literally says steal American generational wealth. Crazy. They're stealing from our grandparents. They're stealing from my parents.
Mhm.
And faking us and all the deep fakes. So on the tech side, now I'm 100% focused. Well, there's never 100% with me. I am all in. Every hour I'm breathing, sometimes even overnight as I'm thinking through it, trying to figure out how we combat them and actually stop them at the operating system levels. And if we need to, we'll create new operating systems if we do. Wow.
What a journey. And it's interesting, going from AI to your child protection kind of role in a big organization to now you're shoulder to shoulder in this fraud fight in these scam centers. It was actually a new movie that just came out. I saw it last night on Netflix. It's about a scam center in Thailand. And it's actually the movie's made in Thai. I forget the name of it. I got halfway through it. It's a tough movie to watch. It's a lot of swearing, but it's
Mhm.
actually about one of the small scam centers.
Yeah.
It's less about the enslavement side, although these people are duped into being a part of this 2 scam centers and the brutality that exists around them. And it's so it just hit Netflix last night. It's a worthy watch, especially if having you've just seen some
Please.
of these. It's not the size by any means of what we know to be in Cambodia and Myanmar and such, but this is such a giant problem that it's going to take the best of all of us. And there are folks like Aaron West and a lot of folks that are out there doing that fight. But then you coming out of the AI space and being a math geek and having this understanding, 'cause the way we solve this is advocacy, help on the ground, proactively making sure we get rid of poverty and all the things that makes people vulnerable. At the same time, technology's got to be a giant play in this, and the infrastructure that they've been able to amass and put together and how they're using AI and all. I mean, this movie actually gets into a little bit. I was actually impressed with some parts of it so far. But I love the fact that you've been pulled into this battle, and I'm sorry that it hit your home,
Yeah.
but you're a great example of someone that experienced a problem and you're like, I'm in and I'm going to fight back. And it's beautiful to see.
I do not want the end. So
Mm.
I'm getting out, but I'm bringing y'all with me. Because I'm just like, I have literally had enough. I've had enough. I had somebody deep fake me recently to totally discredit me. And I'm like, my gosh, what goal this person has to actually think that, first off, I would ever say anything like that. But then second, what is wrong with them? Like, that
Mhm.
is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And it is so frustrating because it can happen to anyone. Oh, I'm working, well, I'll be expert witness on a case. If you want to, you can come too. There is this horrible case down in Florida that I ran across this young man's mom. And so this young man was, when he was a kid, was sextorted between the ages of 12 and 17 on Kick. And at the age of 19, he said, I'm done, no more. They reached back out to him. He's like, I'm not doing that. So guess what they did? They pushed CSAM at him.
And so
Yeah.
then they got him in trouble, and then he was arrested,
Yep. So now
or
he is facing 15 years in jail. And he's like, I never opened it. I didn't even know what to do. I didn't even know it was there. But because it's sitting in his server, he's stuck. So,
wow.
50 plus $1,000 later in criminal, proceedings. I mean, just a mess with stuff like that. So here we have a victim that the traffickers, I mean, just with a Cheshire grin, evil smile, is going, well, if you're not going to do it, I want you to do, look what I'm going to do to you. And the plea bargain has been 8 years. And I'm like, oh, please do not agree with anything because you are a victim. And people need to hear this story because I actually met another one and he was a little bit older than this young man. But same thing happened to him. And he's gone into massive depression, went suicidal because he's been arrested. And he's like, I never what are they talking about? So years later, these pictures or even deep fakes can come back and ruin these people's lives.
See, and my brain goes to one, we're all at risk, and it's crazy, and I want to get into like what we do to kind of protect ourselves here in a second, but I
Yeah.
think about how hard the job of law enforcement's now become.
Oh, it's
Oh
the
my
worst.
goodness, like, yeah.
I don't know how they're doing it. Honestly, I mean, in this here you've got a young man who maybe on paper looks awful. He's a nice young Christian kid, so whatever. But then you've got the real bad guys. Like I saw that they just found someone, I don't know the full story, but she had her infant that she was doing the pictures of on Kick. And I'm like, okay, so that's valid. Yeah. I mean, it's like I don't even know what to do about this at this point. All it is
Wow.
we've got to have protection at the operating system level so that none of this stuff can get to us. The harm block, one of the products that you and I are both aware of, blocks at the operating system level, but only on certain number of phones. And so we need more systems like that on everything. I was like, I need to get rid of my phone. And actually, the more I talk about it, I'm like, I, that
So
terrifies me because I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm like, I don't want to be a target. But man,
well,
they
I've
easy
got
stuff.
that. So that the technology, we had Sharon Percy on talking about Safe to Net, and that's obviously
Good.
taking. And so we obviously are, that's happening internationally.
Love
I'm
it.
going to have Caden Johnson on, and I actually switched my phone to Guardian Lock for
Oh,
that reason. So nothing can, and it's actually running out there. It's on Apple. It's the only one that I think Apple is native to the Apple device, and
yeah.
it's amazing. They come out of the kind of the Clapham group that we're a part of, and they have just done. So I'm going to have Caden on here because they're getting ready to push their iPad also solution out. So anyway, it's just amazing. So we talk about the power of
Yeah.
technology in the hands of good and what it can do. So I'm excited to have that. To your point, I mean, especially folks like yourself
Yeah.
that are in somewhat of the public eye, it's not worth not having a completely secured platform for all kinds of reasons, personal, moral protection, all that stuff, and criminals that just want to do bad. And so yeah, I love that you brought up that point. So hey, so talk to me. So I know we being a parent,
Yeah.
having gone through what you went through,
Mhm.
being a global leader in AI, math, asteroids. I say that jokingly, but this innovator and a mover of all kinds of folks, and we didn't even get to the Philippines project. I need to have you and Sharina on. We need to talk about what's going on with the Philippines.
Oh,
So let's
that would
so
be
let's do
great.
that. How cool would that be to have the two of you on, and let's just talk about what the plans for later this year on the
Oh, she's
Philippines
so
is.
cool. Yes.
Oh, it'll be a blast. So we'll talk about that. We'll come back to that. But somebody that has your mindset, what would be your advice to anyone that's listening that's maybe not quite as tech savvy or, views the world? Give practical kind of simple advice think of it for parents, guardians, grandparents. What would be your advice when it comes to protecting children?
Yeah. I would say it's open communication
Mm.
because we can put every safeguard down that we think and they're important and absolutely do them, but if you don't have communication with your child, the manipulation can still occur. They still will open up themselves because they're looking for help. They're looking for answers. My son was looking for love. Absolutely. He deserves to be loved by a real human being. And it is so hard to go through that. And I mean, he was open with me. He always has been, but I'm so thankful because when he became suicidal, he told me exactly. He's like, "Mom, I don't want to live anymore." And I was like, "Great, let's get in the car." And then I called a friend. I was like, "I don't know what to do." I was like, "So can you call for me?" Because I don't want, I don't want to freak him out. But I was like, "We got to go somewhere." And then I drove 5 hours away in that one drive to go find a place for him. So we have to be able to listen because it is a very dangerous world out there these kids are living in. Um, we can equate it. Here's what's crazy. Okay. Somebody said this to me yesterday and it really hit my heart. Friends. When I say friends, what do you think? Yeah.
Well, that's a trick question. What I think friends, there's
Yeah.
different levels of friendship, but somebody that you can trust and open up to, be vulnerable with.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, someone that
That's
you let
so, yeah. Like a real friend online. We have so messed up our kids because what do we call everybody?
have a
How
friend.
many
Yeah.
friends do you have? I've got 100,000 friends. I've grown
Mhm.
to 200,000. None of those people are your friends. Not at all. We have totally screwed up our kids because we're like, oh, who is your friend? Well, now friend means way too many things. And these are little kids. They're mislearning what society is for them. We've got to really shrink the worlds around them. It's like what we've done today is we've gone and dropped off our kids on purpose in the middle of New York City and said, "Go have a fun day. Go meet people." Well, during that time, they were probably dragged down, someplace they didn't want to go, probably sometimes beaten up. They were definitely talked to strangers they never should have. They get back in the car, bloodied and bruised, and we're like, "How was your day, honey?" What are they going to do? They have no idea what just hit them, right? No
That's
idea.
right.
But to them, it's normal because you dropped them off.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have got to think about what terminology we're using. I hate that we use friends. And it was not until yesterday that just somebody brought that up to me. And I was like, you know, like that hit hard.
Mhm. Wow. So that's powerful, and we need to, as parents, guardians, have conversations about what it means to be a friend and what it means to be trusted, and kind of reframe language and set boundaries and rules. And yeah, I love the open communication because I thought every technologist I've had on says you can't swap technology with relationship.
No.
And I love that's where you went to, and one of the smartest people I know, that's where you start, and I think that's just it's beautiful. Shawnna Hoffman, thank you for being a part of M3. Thank you so much for being a friend, a real friend to so many of us, and thank you for being involved in the fight.
Thank
We're gonna get you and Sharina back to talk about the Philippines. It's
Yep.
gonna be amazing. That'll be a blast to have the 2 of you on here. Oh my goodness. Like, that's a 2-hour episode by itself.
Can I just tease it just for a second?
Yeah.
Hey, people, they need help. So we were just walking from our hotel down to the beach. And my fiance wanted to take a picture of one of the statues that was in a park. We walked into the park and there was this little boy who was
This is in the Philippines.
in the Philippines, in
Yep.
Manila, maybe three, came up to me and said, "Will you be my new mommy?" I looked around and all of a sudden it just was like came to full light to me. I don't even know how many little kids, itty bitty little kids. His sister was maybe 5. She was living or she they were living this like little thing. I can't even describe it because it wasn't even a box that they had tried to put together. One of the nuns walking by, I said, "Well, what is going on here?" And, can anyone help these children? And she's like, "Oh, honey, there's hundreds of thousands of them." She's like, "We don't have enough funding." So we as a world need to come together because we have children, my gosh, living off the grid fully. So as we move forward, we have no idea what is going on across the globe. This was not the only place I saw this. It was also in Myanmar and some of the other locations where you would go, but you have to go on the outskirts because that's where they've pushed all these little ones. And they deserve love as much as every child. And I would say that, I mean, I was literally texting Sharina while I was over there. I was like, "Sharina, I don't even know what to do." And she's like, "We're going to figure it out." So, yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I have such deep memories growing up in Southeast Asia about kids that I'd see, and the reflection I have as an adult now of what I saw. It's yeah. So, well, thank you, Shawnna. Thank you,
Thank,
Bree, as always, and we'll have you back. God bless. Appreciate it.
thank
So if
you.
you enjoyed the M3 show and you want to watch all the new releases, click subscribe. You know how it works. Secondly, if you want to support my nonprofit, the one I established to fight human crimes like child exploitation and human trafficking and scams, click the QR code, scan it, make a donation. That would be hugely appreciated. And if you want to stay updated on all the music, again, I release music regularly. Go and click that link in the description. And we're on every major platform: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. You can look up Ian Mitchell. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for the support. And I look forward to being with you next time.
I am not done yet.